Happy shopping, guys.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers this afternoon, otherwise mainly sunny with light winds, the high near 76. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy with the low near 52. And tomorrow, we'll see a chance of showers and storms throughout the day with the high near 75. A meteorologist kind of like 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
Authentic Mexican food is not always easy to find, but you can find it in Lincoln at Tacos Los Hermanos. Their birria tacos are worth the drive from anywhere in town, but their chicken, chorizo, al pastor, and asada tacos are also worth the trip. You can also try any of those meats in a burrito or quesadilla. You won't find a better toppings bar in the area or better dessert options. If you can't get there, don't worry, they do deliver as well. Stop by Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock Streets in Lincoln.
Join Main Street Beatrice for their annual Beer, Wine, and Spirits Festival on Saturday, May 3rd from 4 to 8 p.m. with VIP entrance at 3 p.m. Enjoy an afternoon of live music and unlimited tastings of Nebraska beer, wine, and spirits at Envision Landscapes and Garden Center. There's something for all palates, and you only pay your entry fee. Food and snacks are available for purchase at the event, as well as off-sale beer, wine, and spirits from vendors. Tickets are only $25 ahead of time or $30 at the door. This fun day is for adults 21 and over only. Buy your tickets at mainstreetbeatrice.org or on the Main Street Beatrice Facebook page today.
Alexa, play 93.7 The Ticket.
Okay, playing 93.7 The Ticket.
Alexa, turn down the lights.
Dimming the lights.
Alexa, order a pizza, the big one, all the toppings.
Are you sure that's a good idea?
Alexa.
That's a lot of pizza for just one man.
Alexa, just do it. Stop judging me, just do it.
As you wish.
Thanks, Alexa. You're my best friend.
Rosie's Sports Bar and Grill, open for lunch and dinner at 1501 Center Park Road, just south of 14th and Highway 2.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
Yes, it is the Adam Carriker Show. My voice is not that of Adam Carriker's, but he will be back here in the next segment. So just a few things to do. He's a busy guy, so we invited Nick Sainert in for the first segment of the Adam Carriker Show. Nick, you did not do enough radio this morning. We need a little bit more.
That's all right. That's all right. I'm excited. Bach, you and I don't get to have too many conversations, so it's always enjoyable for a segment or two.
Yeah, I think it always is fun to kind of refresh and reset, kind of, even though we have conversations off air. But,
we just don't talk.
Yeah, we just stare at each other and stare each other down across the hallway and all that. But no, it's good to kind of reset, and it allows us to kind of think of where we are in the sports calendar or different teams and what we're kind of thinking here, which is what I kind of wanted to open up with you, because I'm just fascinated by the Jamar Brown interest from Nebraska, because this whole offseason, and Adam has mentioned it too, is that Nebraska seemingly had a need at running back as far as depth concerns go. They kind of pushed that off. You could tell they had a great portal class, but didn't really go after running. It's not that they didn't land running backs. They just didn't really go after them. There wasn't a whole lot of news or noteworthy guys they were going after. And then Jamar Brown opens up, of course, having a tie to Nebraska here from North Dakota State, but played at Creighton Prep. Surprised everyone last year. Just played fantastic for them. Led all FCS freshmen in rushing attempts, yards, and touchdowns. And now Nebraska is after him. Did visit with Miami the other day, set to visit with Nebraska here on Thursday. And it's just kind of interesting. Do you think that I guess the biggest question for me is just kind of going back through the information that I just went through. Do you think that they have a need at running back, or is this a Nebraska tie they just feel like they can't mess up on?
I think they have a need at running back.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, I phrased this the other day when he actually entered the portal. Can we imagine what Nebraska's running back room, would look like if Nebraska was not able to retain Emmett Johnson? They would have had no choice but to go out and get somebody. But I wouldn't have seen an avenue to where you feel really good about it. I think there's a lot of curiosity, and I think people believe that Dana Holgorsen plays a role in all this, obviously, because he's the offensive coordinator. However, of like, people have this insane thought in their mind that just because Dana Holgorsen is the play caller and offensive coordinator, that like Nebraska can't utilize multiple running backs. And I look at Charmar Brown and I look at Emmett Johnson as a good 1-2 punch. Like I look at Charmar kind of more, also goes by Marty. You might hear him be called Marty. There was a period in his high school time at Creighton Prep where his desire was to be called Marty Brown.
Okay.
So if you hear that in the news, if you hear media people talk about that, that might just be back in the mind, because I'm accustomed to when we were calling games that it was Marty Brown, but then he goes to North Dakota State and it was Charmar. So I think, though, that's just a little side piece. However, when you look at Nebraska's running back room, they signed Jamarian Parker out of the recruiting class out of high school, which I was excited about him. But to complement what Emmett Johnson can do, I look at maybe what Nebraska had last year. And I think Brown is similar to Dante Dowdell. I think he has better vision, and I think he's better than Dante Dowdell. And so I did find it interesting and odd that Nebraska did not more aggressively go after a running back, but maybe they've operated into this mindset of the entire offseason saying, you know what, when the spring portal opens, we're going to assess and see, okay, where are we at? And there's a lot of guys behind Emmett Johnson that haven't seen meaningful snaps. And so they might be sitting there now almost through spring ball going, yep, this is now a clear need that we have on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I mean, that could be, yeah, just to get a look at it and to see what they have out there. And I've just found the messaging interesting too, because as we know, staffs you would like to have one message to kind of send out, but sometimes you get different ideas about it. And I think we've heard from the coaching staff all along. They like the depth. They expect the people that need to rise up in that room. And then Dana Holgorsen goes out there and said, yeah, we have two guys, and then we're going to see from there.
And isn't that bizarre? Like, Nebraska's been craving for a running back, no matter what the offense looks like, whether it's an air raid, whether it's what we saw under Marcus Satterfield, whatever it might be. Nebraska's been starving and craving for a running back to step up. And it feels like this season could be the year of Emmett Johnson. But we also felt that way about other guys in the last 5, 6, 7 years, even before this staff came to campus. And so it's one of those things of the high school recruiting hasn't been great by any means. Emmett Johnson's probably been your best get in the last 5, 6 years of recruiting at the running back position. You could even potentially say he's been one of your best recruiting hits across skill positions.
Yeah.
Ja'Cory Barney's in that conversation. But if you look at what some of the top producers at Nebraska have been at skill positions, Samari Toure, Trey Palmer, like even Dante Dowdell to an extent, Dedrick Mills, those have all been transfers. And so it feels like Nebraska now is in this in-between of, do they go and throw all their eggs into the Emmett Johnson basket, or can they go ahead and dip into the portal a little bit and see if they can find a 1-2 punch similar to last year, but maybe even a little better, like I said.
Well, and it is interesting because I think there is always, and I don't want to put Emmett into this category, but there's always ego and opportunity
100%.
and that sort of thing that plays into it. And of course, he did go to announced that he was going to the portal.
Yeah.
Never officially went portaling, and so they had to figure out a way to figure that out. And I thought about this as opposed to last year too, where it's just at some point he might ask them or say, like, where do I fit into the picture? I feel like I've done enough to be the guy. A lot of people felt like that was the case last year. Then they went out and got Dante Dowdell, and clearly Emmett had to overcome. He had to play not just better, but significantly better to start getting more opportunities.
It never felt like it felt like we, in our current roles, like we were clamoring for a little more Emmett Johnson. Right. It felt like he did some things differently. And just his skill set was a little bit different than Dante Dowdell's was. The same way, like in past years, there's been running backs that we feel like maybe provide more of a positive or a potential positive outcome than another guy. I think I look at a guy like Emmett Johnson and I say, okay, there's been some things that he's done really well, like his twitchiness and those types of things. He provides a little bit more of a kind of an elusive option for Nebraska. I look at Charmar Brown and I say, okay, if you need a guy to go get you a few, like he's your dude. And I think it's going back to like people get so infatuated with, okay, what type of offense is Nebraska going to run? I don't get so wrapped up or concerned about that specific conversation because I think you need a little bit of everything. I think you need variety in college football nowadays. Like there's always, in every offense, it's not the prototypical types anymore. I mean, it is. It's schematics are important, but what I'm saying and getting at is every coach, if you talk about it, like Josh Heupel at Tennessee, just because they've been in the news, he runs such a spread out type of offense. But then what did he do last year? And his offense, I should say, forced Nico Iamaleava to get rid of the ball quick. It was quick decision making. Didn't have to think a whole lot about options. It was or developing and reading because it was designed to get the ball out of Nico's hands fast. However, he also asked Nico to run the ball 100. Like there's twists and there's varieties and there's little switches that coaches will put into offense and schematics. So I look at Nebraska and be like, yeah, you know what? They're going to rely on Dylan Raiola's right arm a lot. And maybe you need to because I feel really good about your wide receiver room. But doesn't mean that you wouldn't like to have a couple of options at running back either.
Yeah, I mean, a running game could be a big part of it. We'll see if Emmett Johnson can kind of live up. Like you said, we've had hype about our running backs before that might have not necessarily paid off. My bigger concern is not whether he can play or not, or elevate maybe to that next level. It's just the health of him. Because if he goes down, then you're pretty thin. And like I said, they say they had two. I've got some reps in the bowl game, but he doesn't have a whole lot of experience either. And then you're kind of talking about freshmen. And you can have, no matter what, you can line somebody up out there and get something solid out of it. But that's, I mean, when we talk about this offense, no matter what way they run it, any offense is better off with a threat of a ground game. And especially Emmett, what he brings to the table is a threat out of the backfield in the pass game along with his run game.
Well, and wouldn't it make with the vice versa? I think it works. We always talk complementary football. That's such a cliche phrase that everybody loves to throw around 5,000 times ahead of the season. Nebraska just needs complementary football. But it makes everybody's lives easier when you have an effective passing game. Guess what? It's going to allow Emmett Johnson to thrive. And hopefully, if he's put in the most successful position possible, it's going to allow him to be the best version of himself. However, looking at it from the other side, is if Nebraska's running back room or their running game can be effective, hopefully that alleviates some of the pressure off of Dylan Raiola. And Dylan Raiola's deep ball last year wasn't the greatest. That's an area that I hope he gets a lot better at, because it kind of feels like at times when he throws the deep ball, it kind of flutters a little bit. It kind of just hangs up. It looks really good coming out. But then by the time it gets there was completions, but it can be better, right? Like there's growth there for everybody on that offensive side of the ball. And so when I say all of this, what's wrong with bringing in somebody, personnel, a coach, somebody that makes the room better, which then the trickle down effect makes the entire offense better, which then makes everybody's lives easier and hopefully brings you more success.
Yeah. I completely agree. I think a lot of people are hoping they can get Charmar Brown, but It's no sure thing. Again, he visited Miami, visited Nebraska. It's not just the Nebraska connection.
No,
he is the top running back in the portal right now.
And it feels like Nebraska's getting away. I mean, and this is probably part of the plan for like Dana Holgorsen and what he wants to do. But like Janiran Bonner's back out to a normal, wide receiver hybrid tight end type of guy. He had been moved out and back and forth to, does he want to play fullback? Can we line Janiran Bonner up in the backfield, see what he has to work with there? It feels like Nebraska's getting away from like guys trying things out. Sure. Heinrich Harburg making the transition is one thing, but that's something that I think we've been kind of seeing come down the pipe here for the last, year and a half or so. And now it's just official. But ultimately, when it's all said and done, like I look at like the running back room, and there's no pieces that you're genuinely curious about. Like, what Emmett Johnson brings you. What have we seen from Quentin Ives? Not a whole lot, unfortunately. And even guys behind him. Kenneth Williams is a wild card. Jamarian Parker, you don't know what he wants to have happen in the future. And so, what does the development look for like for those guys in the backfield? I think Nebraska could certainly benefit from adding a body in that room, and to bring in somebody that actually did it at a high level and not somebody that you're just hoping for production. Like, I think that gives you an extra boost of excitement for what it could look like.
Well, the man is in the building, Adam Carriker in the room. So we'll go ahead and take a quick break. I know Nick needs to run, and we will be back with Adam Carriker on the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket.
Put lawn irrigation on automatic. Think Judson Irrigation for worry-free service to Lincoln homeowners and business community. Judson Irrigation will turn on your sprinkler system in the spring, repair or redesign as needed, and turn it off in the fall. For service to orphan sprinklers, remember Judson Irrigation. They'll never forget you.
Call the Judson Irrigation Orphanage, 402-420-6277 or judsonirrigation.com.
Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall to Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Spring sports are here, and it's time to upgrade your equipment. But don't go rushing to your big box store. Play It Again Sports is your place to go for all spring sports equipment for baseball, softball, golf, and disc golf. Play It Again Sports has quality, slightly to gently used equipment, and 50% of their inventory is actually new equipment. And don't forget, buying from them is a great way to get new products with great discounts by also bringing in your used items for store credit or cash on the spot. Play It Again Sports at 48th and Vine.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
This is Bill Mitchner, Executive Director of Lincoln Lighthouse. Did you know Lighthouse provides multiple programs for students such as one-on-one tutoring and mentoring, as well as pro-social skill exercises, while providing them a nourishing meal and a safe space during all months of the year, even during school breaks? Learn more or contribute to Lighthouse at lincolnlighthouse.org today.
93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today: a slight chance of showers this afternoon, otherwise mainly sunny with light winds, a high near 76. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy with a low near 52. And tomorrow, we'll see a chance of showers and storms throughout the day with a high near 75. A meteorologist, Kyle Fletcher from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall. Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere air seeder during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Take your seeding performance to the next level with John Deere's advanced air seeding technology. Achieve precise seed and fertilizer placement, optimize emergence, and cover more acres with less downtime. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Contact your Landmark Implement for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
Empower a child today with the Teammates Mentoring Program. Hope is only a conversation away when you choose to share your talent, time, and heart with the child. Together, you can build a relationship based on strengths and chart a brighter future, 1 week at a time. Find out how you can be a mentor by visiting LincolnTeammates.org. Become what you needed as a kid by joining the Teammates Mentoring Program today.
Buckle up and hang on. This is going to be a good one.
The fans of Kansas Speedway know how to have a good time. One that celebrates fantastic finishes.
Crash together. So close.
And family-friendly facilities. Trading paint.
We got feuding.
And tailgating tradition. Burnouts. Beer. And barbecue. Oh, it'll for sure be a good time. And you are all invited. NASCAR weekend at Kansas Speedway, May 9th through the 11th. Get your tickets now at kansasspeedway.com.
Rashawn Jackson here for Bauer Infrastructure, a veteran-owned local company proudly serving Lincoln, Lancaster County, and the surrounding areas. Bauer provides quality work at an affordable price, and they're growing rapidly. If you want to experience a career with a fast-paced, family-friendly environment, visit BauerInfrastructure.com. They have top-of-the-line benefits, year-round work, even through the winter. Bauer, usher in the new era of infrastructure to an area near you. And as always, go Big Red!
Hey there, fellas. It's your girl, Jordan, with Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Allow me to get a bit sappy. For women, jewelry isn't just a gift. It's a timeless symbol of love and appreciation. You have to get this right. No fleeting trends or gadgets will make the impact. Every time she wears it, every time she gets a compliment, you win. Trust me, guys, you'll get your money worth. Until next time, this is Jordan at Sartor Heyman Jewelry. Happy shopping, guys.
93.7 The Ticket is proud to provide listeners with daily opportunities to win contests and prizes on our airwaves, and would like to take this opportunity to remind you of a couple rules. All participants must be 21 or older and must wait 30 days after winning a prize to participate in another contest. Once you win, you have 30 days to pick up your prize at the KNTK Studios, 1040 O Street in Lincoln, or your prize will be forfeited. Thank you for participating in our contests, and thank you for listening to 93.7 The Ticket.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show. I decided to show up to work. After all, I guess I have to be here. Honestly, though, there's been times I've told Jake, I've been like we all wake up and sometimes you're extra tired and you're groggy and you're struggling. There's been 2 times since I went to 2 hours February 1st where I'm just like, it's one of those days. And then the mic gets turned on, the music hits, the glass shatters, and I just went off for 2 hours. And you can, Jake, and I would tell you, I was freaking exhausted, and then I sat down, and then just life just came out of me like a freaking spring of water coming from a spring. Do you remember that? 2 different times.
Yeah, I remember a few times you've woken up as the show gets going.
It's crazy, dude. I love showing up. I love doing this. On the way to the ticket today, on the way to work, got a call from the wife, said, you need to come home. We have X, Y, and Z going on. So hence I had to return home. Now X, Y, and Z are mostly taken care of. Not life or death or anything, but needed to be addressed. So appreciate Nick and Jake helping me out with that situation as well. So you guys were chatting. By the way, we're going to be joined at 11:45, 11:50. Tom Hannafin, former lead announcer for Monday Night Raw, now co-host of the Big Ten Show on Believe, and also works with TNA Wrestling as well. Kind of cool. Him and I did a few shows together. We did the Big Ten Show together for a while, and then it was with Rhett Lewis, and then ultimately I ended up parting. Tom's such a good guy. He calls me out of nowhere. He's like, hey, Adam, they called me, and they want me to do the Big Ten Show with Rhett Lewis. Are you okay with that? In the back of my mind, I was like, why are you calling me? Like, what? This is not my business. I left. but it just shows you what kind of a good dude he is, because he goes, we're friends. And I'm only going to do this if you're okay with it. Well, of course I was okay with it. Like, Tom, you're very good at what you do. By the way, big-time college football guy. Has a Penn State show. I know, forgive him for that, but does a great job talking Big Ten college football as an overall whole. Obviously, gigantic tie to professional wrestling as well. Overall, good dude and a genuine friend of mine. He'll be joining us here in about 15 to 20 minutes. All right. So as I rolled into work late, all right, I heard you and Nick talking about maybe, just maybe, we should add Chamar Brown and add a running back to this running back room. And Nick seemed to be in favor of that idea.
Yeah.
It seems like most people think it's going to happen. All right. It's interesting. I love Matt Rhule. I love his openness. I love his honesty. And maybe there's more people. I don't listen to every single show on planet Earth about Nebraska football. But I feel like, I don't know if I'm the only one or one of the few who's like, yeah, but that doesn't make sense. Like, how are you going to talk about our D-line we haven't hit in pads yet? Yeah, our O-line's a highlight, but like 60% of the projected starters are over there. Like, what? They're not practicing right now. Hey, I love hearing about Tyler Canuck. I love hearing about these other guys. We don't need to address the running back room at all. We're good. Now, all of a sudden, we're looking at a transfer portal running back. Again, I'm not saying Matt Rhule's lying. What I am saying is, first of all, you learn things as you go along through the process. So maybe things have changed. Maybe somebody didn't look exactly the way they thought they would look. Maybe Mr. Brown here is just a really good running back who fits a particular niche that we don't have at the moment. When Nick was leaving, he said, I think he's a better Dante Dowdell. In other words, a physical back, goal line, short yardage, and then he goes, better vision. Because I was like, Quentin Ives, dude can make some people miss. He can play. He can run physically. Emmett Johnson, just an all-around back. Can do everything. But, man, when you got that hammer, 3rd and short, 4th and short, 3rd and goal, 4th and... It's nice to have a hammer. Hammer meet nail. Hammer wins. If you're the nail, you don't want to meet the hammer. It'd be nice to have that battering ram, that hammer in the backfield. Maybe, just maybe, he could be that guy. Now, I didn't hear what you had to say. I know what Nick said. What did you have to say? Brief synopsis, because the people have already heard it. And no offense, I don't want to hear your opinion twice, but I do want to hear it once.
Well, I don't know what to make of any of that.
I took a lot of pre-workout this morning, FYI.
I think it'd be fascinating if Nebraska can get him, just because of the effect it'll have on the rest of the room. I think if they did get him, all of a sudden he would rise up to be your number 2 back, or you would assume be right up there.
You think so? They have praised Quentin Ives to the hills, man.
They have, but this is a 1,000-yard back at North Dakota State. I know it's the FCS, but was as a freshman was the 1,000-yard back. So there's plenty of still to be unlocked there. And it would, not only would he be a player in that running back room, but I also would consider him one of the top transfer portal gets this offseason for Nebraska, because like you. Matt Rhule can say it all he wants. I'd feel more comfortable with a few more experienced playmakers in that running back room.
All right. If you don't want to hear truth, turn off the radio, turn off the podcast, and turn off YouTube, wherever you're listening. If you don't want to hear truth, because here's the truth. If he comes in, what do you think the odds are Quentin Ives then hits the transfer portal? Because that's a very real possibility. And all of a sudden, we're back down to 2 backs again. Not 2 backs, but like 2 backs that you at least feel like you can trust at this point in time.
Yeah. Well, that's the whole thing is interesting, because I said it in the first segment too, because it's kind of like these egos and all these things you kind of have to work, and opportunities at one point. Like Emmett Johnson, if they would have went to the portal immediately and went and got somebody that we would say as competing with Emmett Johnson, would he have returned? Would he have been happy? Because it seemed like he was a little frustrated with his value, maybe to the coaching staff compared to what he put on the field. So maybe I thought all along, maybe that's why they didn't go get a running back out of the portal. They lost Dowdell. But now to your point, if you do add somebody here, I'm not necessarily thinking, because I still think Emmett is your clear-cut starter at that point. But then you do think of a Quentin Ives, because that's what I think Emmett started to get frustrated was they seem to keep recruiting people over me. And if you're Quentin Ives, this would be the same situation where it's like, man, I was just right there as the number 2 back. Now I'm fighting for 3rd.
It's a crazy world we live in, just in general, and then college football is insanity right now. It's highly entertaining. There's lots to talk about. I know a lot of people have been flat out turned off by it as well. I will say this. I will remind people. All right, good folks listening, tuning in. If you didn't tune out a minute ago, and if you did, turn back in. I don't know how you're going to hear this, but just turn back in either way. If college football kept on going down this track, it would follow the track of the NBA. And I'm not saying the NBA is doom and gloom and done, but they are nowhere near as popular as they were 20 years ago, 10 years ago, 15 years ago, not even close. Now, there's going to come a point, the NBA playoffs have started. Yes, I'm aware of this. There's going to come a point where we talk NBA as they get deeper into the playoffs. Also, when college sports aren't around in a plenty. But I look forward to that. But there's a reason I kind of wait a little bit longer. It gets more interesting when the playoffs roll around, and deeper into the playoffs you get. Same thing with Major League Baseball from my point of view. This is my show, so that's how I approach it. All right? Husker sports, college football, sports in general. Unique insight, unbridled honesty. Producer Jake and I are going to have a whole lot of fun. Like, when we were going to 2 hours, I was like, what do I want this show to be about? What do I want folks to know they're going to hear when they tune in the Adam Carriker Show? And that it wasn't hard. It literally took less than a minute. Husker sports, college football, sports in general, because I know what I want to talk about. I have a decent pulse of what people want to hear. Everyone's different. You know, you never know for sure, but as a general whole, decent pulse on Husker Nation. And what do I want them to hear? Unique insight and broad honesty, have a whole lot of fun. Like that literally, that whole thing that I say almost every single day, unless I forget for some reason, took less than 90 seconds combined. So for me, I get excited when the NBA playoffs get around round 2, the conference finals, into the finals. And then I become very intrigued. And I think a lot of Nebraskans would follow suit. There's always going to be people who see it differently. Some people who never tune in, some people who've been watching since the opening tip way back in the fall, early winter. My point is, if college football were to do what they're doing right now, they would follow the downward trajectory and being less and less popular that the NBA has fallen into right now. What I am saying is stay tuned. I talked to somebody yesterday who covers Nebraska football for a living, and they're fed up. Now, this person will readily admit they're a bit lippy and a bit cantankerous. He's put out a few videos over the years that have caught people's attentions, both positively and negatively. He probably wouldn't care if I said his name, but I didn't ask him, so I won't. I'm just like, hey, stay tuned. I don't know how long it's going to take, but there is going to be revenue sharing. There's contracts. There is going to be an actual body that enforces certain rules, so rules actually matter, and everyone's not just a scared little puppy dog in the corner like the NCAA's just worried they're going to get sued by everybody. Like, there are things coming. Because if we go on this trajectory, you've seen the lack of crowds and the lack of interest around the country at the spring game. Maybe 20,000 people is what is expected, maybe at the Husker games this weekend, which is going to be as much as anybody in America. It's Nebraska. You expect that, but you don't take it for granted. There are parameters. There is hope. There is a light at the end of the tunnel. The only thing that frustrates me is I don't know how long the tunnel is before we get to that light. I hope it's shorter. In other words, I hope it gets here sooner rather than longer and or later. All right. So when it comes to the running back room, I'm not saying there's not a third back in there. They've mentioned Mekhi Nelson has dynamic speed, and we got a couple of very talented freshmen, and there's other guys in that room as well. But the two that have stood out, Emmett Johnson, Quentin Knives. And it's like, man, you really got to have a third just to feel decent about things. But then do people leave? That's the conundrum. So then what you got to ask yourself is, Matt Rhule, you got to get a feel for Quentin Knives, which I don't have that feel. You don't have that feel. But you got to get a feel for Quentin Knives. What's he likely to do if we bring him in? And if Quentin Knives leaves, would we rather have Chamar Brown or Quentin Knives? Like, you kind of have to choose before you actually bring him in case Quentin Knives leaves. And I don't know what Quentin Knives is thinking. I don't have a pulse on him at all. Can't tell you this. But if I'm Matt Rhule, by the way, he's got to do this at like every freaking position all the time. That's why I sit here and say, hey, I'm not jealous of one single college football coach in America right now. There may come a point in time where I'd be jealous and I'd love to have that job. Right now is not that point in time. Again, light at the end of the tunnel. Hopefully this tunnel is shorter and not longer. Things come sooner rather than later. But if I'm Matt Rhule, I'm looking at that running back room and I'm like, man, this guy could help us, especially in certain situations. And man, he's 1,000-yard back. Like, we're talking North Dakota State here. Won the Jerry Rice Award as the top freshman in all of FCS. It helps that he's a Nebraska kid too. Fills a bit of a niche that we need. Physical power runner, good all-around back in general. but then you got to evaluate the room as a whole. Any final thoughts there, Jake, before we move on quickly?
Yeah, it's just fascinating too. I mean, because the freshman running backs, I always kind of think you want to get something out of them. Generally, what we've seen over the years is if you redshirt as a running back, it's not doom, but usually if you are good enough to play running back and are going to make an impact at the next level, they find some sort of role for you as a freshman. So I want to see if they can get in there, and then, and sometimes that takes 3 games, 4 games, before you really hit your stride and kind of break through that wall. So that will be interesting to track all along. And then the other part of it too is with Ives, who's kind of, had to sit and wait his turn. Like I said, sometimes I kind of get ahead of myself and kind of think, well, if you didn't do anything as a freshman, chances are, at least statistics tell me, that you're not going to be an all Big Ten player by the time you leave here. But there are guys that sat and wait their turn. Brandon Jackson certainly comes to mind. Divino Zigbo certainly comes to mind, that eventually break out as well. So, I mean, the lack of depth that we perceive behind Emmett Johnson, it might not be all that true. Maybe there are some really good players in there, but you've got to cover your bases, because although there are a few good stories that I can pull out of there, again, most stats will tell you that's not the case. In Nebraska in general, whether you redshirt or not, they just need a standout running back. You really haven't had one in a long time. Emmett Johnson seems to be a guy here that can step up and be that. But we've said that before about guys. Since Amir, you just really haven't had a standout back. With Zigbo for half a year, but
yeah, no, Zigbo was really a surprise. I don't think anybody walked into the year thinking, hey, he'll be our only 1,000-yard rusher the next decade. You know what I mean? Nobody projected that for multiple reasons. Jamarian Parker, Connor Booth, you're right. Maybe kind of they were thinking, hey, it's Emmett, it's Quentin. Mekhi Nelson's got dynamic speed. Maybe one of the, Connor Booth has, when I say video game type numbers in high school, they're like video game type records that people spend hours trying to break and they still don't achieve it type numbers in high school. And then you got Jamarian Parker, who is as dynamic an athlete as anybody in this class almost. So maybe they were like, one of these two guys can step up and be that third back. And as the year goes along, hopefully you get through at least a month before anybody gets hurt or worn down or banged up. By then, hopefully one of those backs has stepped up into that third back role. Maybe that's what they were thinking. Maybe there's somebody in that room. We haven't talked about it all yet. There's been a couple of guys that have popped up on the offensive line that we hadn't talked about, that RHULE stands up there and talks about during press conferences. Those types of things I freaking love. From linebackers that nobody talks about that were former rugby players to earning scholarships, and now maybe they're going to start over some of these freaky athletic linebackers we have in that room. I don't know. But if nothing else, create competition, add depth, which you obviously need. So the running back situation is interesting to me. One of the things we're going to do at the second hour, so we're going to call Tom here in about a minute or two. At the top of the hour, the second hour, we're going to go through a lot of the pre-spring questions. I've got, and I had these pulled up yesterday. We didn't get to them. 5 key Nebraska football storylines to follow as spring practice begins. Okay. What's another one here? 4 questions for Nebraska football heading into spring ball. We're going to revisit these. And we're going to see what are still major question marks for Matt RHULE after spring. All right, so we're going to do that in that second hour. What we're going to do now, we're going to head to break. We'll bring on Tom Hannafin. All right, again, former lead announcer from Monday Night Raw. Good dude, Big Ten show analyst, has a Penn State college football show. He does a great job there. All right, and all-around good dude. We'll bring him on. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
At Parkview Animal Hospital in Lincoln, it's not just their professional care that sets them apart, but their warm staff and state-of-the-art facilities. Whether it's for a routine checkup or a comprehensive medical procedure, at Parkview, your pet isn't just another number, but a valued member of their caring family. Visit them at PAHLincoln.com today and in person just south of 14th and Pine Lake Road. Parkview Animal Hospital, your pet, their passion, for happier, healthier, furry friends. Are you looking for an exciting new way to put your skills to work? Explore new career options in the fintech industry at Currency, a Sandhills global company. We offer full-time positions in financial sales, compliance, operations, and other fields. We also offer a 4.5-day work week, an attractive benefits package, and opportunities for advancement. Put your motivation to work and grow with us at Currency. Visit gocurrency.com/careers to learn more. Select Plumbing and Utility has been serving Lincoln and the surrounding area for 14 years, and they're not slowing down. Select Plumbing and Utility handles all your plumbing needs from faucets and water heaters to full renovations, and they can even help with your heating and cooling needs. They're also Lincoln's underground experts, repairing and replacing broken underground water and sewer lines since day one. Contact Select Plumbing and Utility today at 402-560-6197, assuring excellence in every situation, opportunity, and challenge. That's 402-560-6197.
Nebco is hiring CDL drivers for ready-mixed concrete in Lincoln. With 3 plants across the city, there are plenty of opportunities to start or grow your driving career. They offer great pay, medical and retirement benefits, paid time off, and they cover the cost of CDL training. Apply today and receive a $2,500 hiring bonus. Since 1908, it's the employees that have formed the company's solid foundation. Start your career today with ready-mixed concrete. Visit nebcoinc.com. That's nebcoinc.com.
What's it take to be a mentor with big brothers, big sisters? It takes 30 minutes and a cup of coffee. A video game, best 2 out of 3. It takes sharing thumbs up emojis, clapping emojis, and loaded nachos at halftime. That's how you make an impact on a young kid's life. So go on, share a few hours a month, because mentorship may sound huge, but the truth is, it takes little to be big. To learn more, volunteer, or donate, go to bebignow.org.
Join Main Street Beatrice for their annual Beer, Wine, and Spirits Festival on Saturday, May 3rd from 4 to 8 p.m. with VIP entrance at 3 p.m. Enjoy an afternoon of live music and unlimited tastings of Nebraska beer, wine, and spirits at Envision Landscapes and Garden Center. There's something for all palates, and you only pay your entry fee. Food and snacks are available for purchase at the event, as well as off-sale beer, wine, and spirits from vendors. Tickets are only $25 ahead of time or $30 at the door. This fun day is for adults 21 and over only. Buy your tickets at mainstreetbeatrice.org or on the Main Street Beatrice Facebook page today.
Your home is your empire. Protect it with Empire Fence. Get a free instant quote with the online estimating tool at empire-fence.com. See an upfront estimate with no hidden fees. An Empire Fence can provide privacy and improve the appearance of your home. Keep kids and pets in or out of your yard. Increase security and add value to your property. Visit empire-fence.com now to view the stylish and maintenance-free possibilities for your home and get a free instant online quote. Let Empire Fence protect your empire.
Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R.
Outside is where winter adventure unfolds. On frozen lakes, icy landscapes, and snow-covered slopes, feeling the cold air rush by as you race downhill. The freedom of gliding with ease and the warmth of being together. From epic sled rides to the fun of ice fishing, it's all right here beneath Nebraska skies. Start your winter adventure at yournebraskaparks.com. Sponsored by Nebraska Game and Parks, aired with the Nebraska Broadcasters Associations and this station.
Cinco de Mayo is May 5th, but the party starts early this year at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina with their street festival on Saturday, May 3rd. Come down to 8th and Q starting at 1 p.m. on May 3rd and see llamas from Sweet and Sassy's Llama Farm until 4 p.m. and enjoy face painting and balloon animals with Miss Shades at 2 p.m. DJ Wyatt will entertain from 6 to 10:30 p.m. There will be drinks, food, and giveaways, and best of all, no cover charge. It's the early Cinco de Mayo Street Festival with Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, Saturday, May 3rd, beginning at 1 p.m. at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Mike, I've been thinking our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Now it's time to bring on our special guest, former announcer for Monday Night Raw, now the lead announcer for Impact Wrestling, also co-host of the Big Ten Show on the Believe Podcast Network, and a Penn State football show as well. Good buddy of mine, Mr. Tom Hannafin. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, man. How are things out in Nebraska?
Dude, life is glorious. I appreciate you taking the time to join us. We got all sorts of topics to ask you about, from Impact Wrestling to WWE to WrestleMania to the Big Ten to Penn State. All right, my friend, we're going to start.
Hold on, I gotta stop you.
Go ahead.
We are TNA Wrestling,
Ooh.
Total Nonstop Action. We rechristened a little over a year ago. I would just appreciate a professional courtesy. I will give you the benefit of the doubt. I'll forgive you because we're friends and I love you. But Total Nonstop Action, TNA Wrestling, has never been hotter.
Well, you guys are hot. In fact, your world champion was just on WrestleMania. I want to ask you about that in a second. By the way, I accept no responsibility for that. Wikipedia says Impact Wrestling, so I'm blaming Wikipedia. I'm looking at your beautiful face in a wonderful Eagle sweatshirt. You're smiling, and it says Impact Wrestling lead commentator TNA. TNA, ladies and gentlemen. TNA. Lead announcer.
They got to fix it now.
They do. You know you can edit that yourself, right? Like I could say I'm the president of the United States on Wikipedia if I want.
Oh, I'm going to put some ridiculous stuff on there. Fantastic.
That's just know yours is accessible as well, my friend. All right, let's talk some WrestleMania. What was because Impact or TNA Wrestling and WWE are now partners. All right, so talk to me about WrestleMania. I know you didn't get to see the whole show because you were out of Vegas. You told me you took the red eye, but what you've been able to see and put together and gather, what are your thoughts on WrestleMania as a whole? John Cena beating Cody Rhodes and anything else that sticks out to you?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, it's just incredible what WWE continues to do. They put out a lot of information today saying it's the most successful event in WWE history, and everybody thought last year's WrestleMania was the high water mark, and last year's WrestleMania was the most successful WWE event of all time. And there had been a lot of noise from fans on social media who always have everything right, that the build it wasn't as good. This won't be as good of a WrestleMania as last year's WrestleMania. And it still proved to be a really, really good show. And obviously from a financial standpoint, from a business standpoint, WWE is just in a boom, a tremendous period of growth for them. So we in TNA Wrestling are extremely happy to be partners with WWE, and it created the moment that you were talking about. The fact that the reigning TNA World Champion appeared and competed at WrestleMania. I never would have expected that in a million years. TNA Wrestling's been around for 23 years now. It's been this consistent alternative for over 2 decades. So to see that, I think there's a lot of people who have been in the company for decades and people I know who are here at the very beginning never thought in a million years that was ever going to happen. So proud of Joe Hendry, our reigning TNA World Champion, who is a global phenomenon, going toe-to-toe with an absolute legend, future Hall of Famer in the Viper, Randy Orton. It was incredible. Outside of my own, stuff with TNA, I thought the women's 3-way match was one of the best triple threat matches I've ever seen. Congratulations to Io Sky. I always love the heartfelt family moments. So for Io Sky to have her family there in attendance was just incredible. Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, I've known since the NXT days, and they're just unbelievable talents. So that match was crazy. The turn with Seth Rollins and Paul Heyman, still, even after Raw last night, is everybody talking? I think that was a way that I was kind of, as a fan, I was like, I think they might go this way. And now I'm really intrigued to see where they go with it overall, and to have CM Punk, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns in there, it can't go wrong. Oh, and by the way, Paul Heyman. So that all came off really well. And then John Cena winning his 17th. I love the little touches as his heel character is developing, and the all-black Tron and just the white lettering and simplifying things. And he doesn't have to do anything crazy or big at this point in time because you know who he is, or at least you should know who he is. So I'm very curious to see where they go now, especially what's next for Cody Rhodes. They've created us a lot of big questions, and it continues to be unpredictable, and that's when wrestling's at its best.
All right. WrestleMania was successful. Very, very good show. No Rock. What is going on? The whole storyline was Cody Rhodes told The Rock to go, alphabetical letter F himself. John Cena sold his soul. Come to WrestleMania. The match happens. Here's come Travis Scott. I'm not a gigantic fan of him being involved in this, but where's The Rock in all this, man? Where's The Rock?
That is a big question that is out there. And I think it's a good question that WWE has allowed to continue, because you're sitting here asking that question. You're putting it out into the universe. Where's The Rock? When does The Rock get involved in this? I can look at it in a few ways, and that I, as a fan, was curious about the same thing. And at the same time, I can look at it from a business standpoint, is that if you had made this milestone moment with John Cena and you connected him at the hip with Rock the entire way up to WrestleMania, would it be as much about John Cena as it would be about The Rock? Would the story of Rock overshadow John Cena potentially? Now we're in a situation where John Cena's won his 17th. There was no Rock. Yes, you have the involvement of Travis Scott, but the story is about Cena and what Cena did, what he intends to do to the world of pro wrestling, what he's done to Cody Rhodes. So you tell that story whenever Rock does get re-injected back into this, then you have Rock's story with Cody. So I think it's just opened up all these different avenues for them to go down. And knowing, having spent nearly 9 years in WWE, the best thing is to have people asking questions and wanting to tune in next week, because to the point you just asked, when is Rock going to get involved? So I think that's what they've created with this.
Yeah, I think the storytelling's been fantastic. I mean, especially after Raw last night, I'm very intrigued by what's coming next. Tom Hamilton, TNA broadcaster alongside us here. You've known as Tom Phillips during your time in WWE. I did want to ask you, I want to get a peek behind the curtain, because I always wondered, because there is great broadcasters, obviously JR, Michael Cole, you worked alongside, just kind of what you guys know going into the show. Do you pre-record, or not pre-record, but rehearse? And do you know what's going to happen in the show? I know there's a list of words that you're not supposed to say. So how difficult is it, and kind of what is the process of preparing for your typical weekly show?
It depends so much. I'll speak to the preparation part of it first, is that, there's elements of wrestling shows where organic reactions are the best type of reaction that you can get. So there's definitely elements of certain shows where I don't want to know. And there's other shows where it's best if I do know, because the story that the creative team and the company as a whole wants to tell needs to be done in a very specific way. So that often lands more on play-by-play announcers like myself, Michael Cole, Jim Ross, like you just mentioned. So a lot of times, even in TNA Wrestling, I have a fantastic co-host in Matthew Raywalt, the former Aiden English in WWE. And there's elements of things in shows where I know, but I don't let him know. Or there's elements where we both don't know. Or there's elements where we both need to know so that we can really fine-tune that story. And then to your point about the things you can say versus the things you can't say, I think that was very much a Vince era element. As someone who dealt with those things, it's tough, but it was what the company asked me to do at the time. And shoot, I just got done listening to stuff surrounding the Masters. Of the Masters commentators aren't allowed to refer to the fans as fans. They're referred to as patrons, and they don't say the back nine. They say the second nine or whatever. I forget how it is exactly. So this is a very common thing in sports and entertainment. It's like, hey, we want this word said. We don't want this word said. We want it phrased this way, etc. And that was the way Vince wanted it. And even now, after Vince's time and now seeing it under Nick Khan and Triple H, they've made so many changes. I hear words and phrases and cliches and different things. And I say the word cliche not in a negative way, but there's just common colloquialisms we all use in our speech that Vince wanted people to avoid. And now it's just a different regime. So I hear those phrases used, and it's okay. It's just a different world for them in WWE, and especially for us in TNA Wrestling. We don't operate by that. We're partners, but we have our own way that we do things. And I think that's really important in the grand scheme of professional wrestling, is that every commentary team, every company has a different way that they position things, a different way that they phrase things. And I think that makes each individual character, storyline, match, and product feel different. So it's just It's whatever flavor that company wants to roll with.
Yeah, I think that's a fair point. It's about branding. People want certain things to stick
100%.
out and branding. Like Vince wanted superstars, larger than life superstars, hence don't say pro wrestlers. Like, and as you mentioned, things have evolved, things have changed, et cetera, et cetera. And honestly, that one always made sense to me. There were some others he had. I was like, okay, whatever. You only built the biggest mega wrestling giant on planet Earth. So what do I know? But no, as an overall whole, it's about branding. All right, dude. You got a Big Ten show. The Big Ten show, you and Rhett Lewis do a phenomenal job on the Believe Podcast Network. Check it out, ladies and gentlemen, if you get a chance. But I got to ask you. Okay, Ohio State, Jeremiah Smith, probably the best offensive player in America, or at least going to be one of the top three coming back. You got Caleb Downs on defense, probably the best defensive player in America. Michigan's going to be hopefully able to throw the ball better with Bryce Underwood or whoever's starting, but they're going to be physical, play defense. Penn State is returning as much or more production across their offense and defense than any other team in the Big Ten. Oregon's going to Oregon. Who you got as the favorite next year in the Big Ten Conference?
Well, naturally, I'm going to say Matt Rhule, Dylan Raiola, and the Nebraska.
That's what I'm talking about. Yes. Pander to the people. I love it.
I'm all about pandering. Honestly, and I'm biased because I also host another podcast called State of State, a Penn State football show with former Penn State and NFL defensive back Justin King. So I'm biased. I'm a Penn State grad, but I think Penn State has the best situation in terms of returning production going into 2025, another year for Drew Aller to mature, another year for that two-headed monster of running back Nick Singleton and Katron Allen to do damage. And can they get some stuff going here in the transfer portal to potentially bolster that defensive line and the wide receiver core, much maligned? So I like Penn State's chances. I think they are suited best to credibly contend for the national championship, with the points you just said. You can't rule out Ohio State. It's not necessarily who Ohio State has coming back. It's who they've lost. Will Howard, Jack Sawyer, JT Tuimoloau, a lot of pieces on that defense, like who's going to step up and play. Jim Knowles, defensive coordinator, no longer with Ohio State. Now he's at Penn State. So there's a lot of pieces that Ohio State's going to have to replace, but they just kind of reload, man, as you well know. Michigan, it's a big wait and see. Is it the Mikey Keene show at quarterback? Is it Bryce Underwood immediately? You know, everybody freaked out because they did a trick play that went for a touchdown in their scrimmage game. They're like, "Oh, he's on fire!" It's like it's a trick play against your team. So what are we talking about? So the jury's still out on Michigan, and even Oregon is kind of a similar situation to Ohio State with Julian Sain, a quarterback for the Buckeyes potentially. Dante Moore, a quarterback for the Ducks. You know, not a proven commodity yet. So you just have to see what Dan Lanning and company do out there. But I think Ohio State, Oregon will be right there in the mix. You can't rule out Indiana. I think getting Fernando Mendoza from Cal to potentially upgrade over what Curtis Rourke did last year, and can Curt Cignetti and company prove that last year wasn't a one-hit wonder. And you can't rule out Illinois as well. They were on the cusp of the college football playoff last year. Could they get over the hump? With Brett Bielema and Luke Altmaier at quarterback, another year stronger. So there's going to be a lot of competition, I know, for sure, in the Big Ten. And I do honestly hope and expect to see Nebraska sniffing that territory. Do I think they make the playoff? Not necessarily, but I think they could at least make people's lives very difficult there.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about Curt Cignetti just out of principle. Illinois was, if you're a Nebraska fan, you'll know why. Illinois was, you're right, one more win away. They're going 10-2. They're probably in that college football playoff a year ago. You look at the top four teams across the country, at least the teams that are favored to win the national title. It's your regulars, Texas, Georgia, Oregon, Ohio State. They all have two things in common. Less than 50% of their returning production from a season ago and a brand new quarterback. Penn State, on the other hand, Drew Aller's back for like his 54th season, and they have a ton of returning production. My question for Penn State, because that's the team I want to predict to win the Big Ten, okay, and make the deepest run in the playoffs, at least as a team from the Big Ten. They made the Final Four last year. Wide receivers. Dude, they have been hurting for wide receivers for 2 years. You can't play Notre Dame and your top pass catcher be either your tight end or running back consistently, although your tight end was a beast last year. He's gone, though. Right. My question is, has Penn State addressed the wide receiver room?
Remains to be seen. They have addressed it in terms of at least bringing in some transfers in the winter cycle. Former UFC wide receiver Kyron Hudson, former Troy wide receiver Devontae Ross. So you're having to step up from the Sun Belt to the Big Ten. So you got to see what happens with that. There's been some discussions within the past week of Penn State potentially having interest in Syracuse wide receiver Trebor Pena. He visited Happy Valley this past Friday. There's a rumor out there that Penn State has interest in BYU wide receiver Keelan Marion, who can be a pass catcher, a rusher, a kick returner, punt returner, a little bit of everything. He'd be an amazing gadget player in Andy Kotelnicki offense. So you have to see. And then there's the remaining group of people. Keep an eye out for Tyser Denmark coming into his second season as a part of the program. Just because he's a freshman, there's still high expectations for him to be more consistent, possibly be that number 3 wide receiver. And then it's kind of a whole group of young guys that Penn State is like, hey, we need to see something. So I wouldn't be shocked if Penn State went and got somebody else in the portal here in the spring cycle. But also they could sit tight with what they have. And I think they really like Hudson and Ross at this point. You have Hudson's size and pass catching ability. He's a very strong, big body guy. And then you've got Devontae Ross, who can also get involved in special teams, a little bit smaller, shiftier, but had some success last year against a Big Ten foe at Iowa, which I know they're excited about. So the short answer, wait and see. I think Luke Reynolds, the tight end, is not exactly going to be Tyler Warren, but he will step up where Warren left off in a way. Khalil Dinkins is more of a blocking tight end, but can get involved there. The truth about Penn State, as it has been for decades, Adam, and you know this, they're going to run the football and they're going to play great defense, and they're going to run the wheels off of Nick Singleton and Katron Allen in 2025.
They certainly have the talent. That's why a lot of people are picking them. I just had to ask you, though, because I want to kind of get the feel for how James Franklin is kind of received there in Happy Valley at this point, because top 15 coach, top 15 program. Anytime there's a job opening, he's the guy out there, but has had trouble getting past that, the Ohio State, Michigans of the world historically. And then this season, it feels like, okay, this is where it lines up. So is there more pressure on him this year to succeed? And what is kind of the overall feel for James Franklin now, several years into his tenure at Happy Valley?
It depends on who you talk to. Penn State fans are a little entitled at times, and I am one of them, so I understand it. Maybe you guys can relate with Nebraska fans to a degree of expecting the moon on a regular basis. I think there's Penn State fans who can be honest and understand that it's been nearly 40 years since Penn State won a national championship, and to get from where this program was receiving a lot of sanctions and nearly the death penalty following the Jerry Sandusky scandal well over a decade ago, James Franklin had to rebuild this program nearly from its deathbed. And I don't think people really understand that, because they don't get to walk through the Lash building in Haluba Hall in Happy Valley and understand really what he had to build in terms of the infrastructure, rebuild the culture, rebuild the image of the school. There's a lot of people at Penn State that think the image has never needed repairing, and that the tradition and the pride and the community and the education are just enough to do it. There's been a lot of people that have refused to get with the changing of the times with NIL and the transfer portal. All of that takes time. So I understand people who are impatient and they're like, well, he's been here now for 11 years. When is he finally going to get over the hump? Well, the amount of progress he had to make to get Penn State to the point that they were in the Final Four last year, that was a gargantuan undertaking. And as you guys all know, and Adam, having played at the highest level in college and in the National Football League, that difference between good and great and elite, they're fractions of a percent. And that's the challenge for James Franklin and this group, is that just because there are a lot of people thinking they can credibly contend for the national title in 2025, you don't know how the ball is going to bounce in January of next year. There's all these little things that have to fall into place. The stars have to align. So I think Penn State is set up as well as almost anybody in the country to make a run at it. But if James Franklin doesn't win the national title this year, I don't think it's going to be a situation where they're calling for some people will call for the buyout. I won't be one of those people. It's like, if we get to the national title, it'd be fantastic. But there's going to be some people who are frustrated, but I don't think this athletic department is going to put them on the hot seat by any means.
Yeah, man, never take a good coach for granted. And Penn State is the team that I want to predict when August rolls around to make the deepest run of the playoffs of any Big Ten team, obviously outside of Nebraska. But
you guys lived it with Bo Pelini, for crying out loud.
Yes. Well, thank you for bringing that up. No, 3 of my favorite coaches across the country, outside of Nebraska, are Sharon Moore, Marcus Freeman, and James Franklin. I just like the way they build their programs, the way they conduct themselves, and the expectations and culture that they've built. Now, Sharon's gone to, spending quite a bit of money, so I don't know, but if it works, hey, I'm all here for it. Hey, Tom, I appreciate your time. Thank you for joining us, my friend.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it, guys.
All right, don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We'll be right back.
Authentic Mexican food is not always easy to find, but you can find it in Lincoln at Tacos Los Hermanos. Their birria tacos are worth the drive from anywhere in town, but their chicken, chorizo, al pastor, and asada tacos are also worth the trip. You can also try any of those meats in a burrito or quesadilla. You won't find a better toppings bar in the area or better dessert options. If you can't get there, don't worry, they do deliver as well. Stop by Tacos Los Hermanos for lunch or dinner today at 70th and Havelock Streets in Lincoln. Get ready for the largest dirt late model event in Nebraska, race fans. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is heading to Eagle Raceway's High Bank Heist on Thursday, May 15th through Saturday, May 17th. See the greatest dirt late model stars in the country compete for $10,000 to win on both Thursday and Friday, and an enormous $50,000 to win 75-lap main event on Saturday. The High Bank Heist, May 15th through May 17th at Eagle Raceway. For more info, visit eagleraceway.com. Let's go Lucas Oil Late Model Racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street. Salt Mine City is not only Lincoln's newest brewery, but they're also now serving food. Enjoy a full menu of great items daily for lunch and dinner, like their peanut butter and jelly burger with bacon and cheddar cheese, or a Reuben sandwich served on Blackstone rye bread. Don't forget their beef or chicken nachos with guacamole, sour cream, jalapenos, and more. Wash it down with one of their 12 beers on tap, including the popular Single Axle Light American Lager. Salt Mine City, now open 11 a.m. every day but Mondays at 8th and R. Make plans to join 93.7 The Ticket and the Amon Green Foundation for the first annual Nebraska Esports Golf Tournament on Monday, June 9th at Wilderness Ridge. It's a four-man scramble starting at 11 a.m. that will feature former Husker greats, including Amon Green, Johnny Rogers, Niles Paul, Tony Davis, Adam Carriker, Vershawn Jackson, and more, with great prizes and great golf. Sponsorships are also available. Email Jake at theticketfm.com for more questions or sign your team up online at theticketfm.com. Early bird registration goes through April 20th and overall registration goes through May 30th.
I'm Karen Carr. I've been a realtor for 31 years. When I made a company change 12 years ago, I chose Lincoln First Realty, now NP Dodge. It's the oldest independently owned realty company in the country. Since becoming NP Dodge, we've continued our tradition of community involvement. Our management and staff are always available to offer support in marketing, technology, social media, and educational opportunities.
Expand your career with NP Dodge. Call Eric at 402-434-2222.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Staying healthy and comfortable starts with the air you breathe. If you're noticing more dust, odors, or allergies, it could be time for duct cleaning from Bryant. Pure Air starts with cleaner air ducts, pair with enhanced filtration and purifications options, and the difference is amazing. When the air you breathe is clean and fresh, your home smells fresher, and your family is healthier. Time for cleaner air in your home? Call Bryant for a free estimate. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
Constructors is now hiring for all positions, with pay starting at $23 and up based on experience. Constructors has immediate job openings for mechanics, bridge builders, operators, and drivers. Start your new career today. Constructors offers great pay, health, dental, and vision insurance, paid time off, paid holidays, and so much more. Join the crew today and be a part of Nebraska's oldest paving company dating back to 1908. For a complete list of openings and to apply online, visit constructorslincoln.com.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call
John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
and electrical.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Hi, it's Joel Norman, the voice of your Lincoln Stars hockey team. Tune in to 93.7 The Ticket to hear the latest on the Stars with myself, head coach Rocky Russo, and special player guests.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals just like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
This is the Adam Carriker Show.
Position right of the quarterback, out of the shotgun, 1st and 20. Jailbreak screen in the air. It is tipped. It is intercepted by Carriker at the Missouri 21-yard line.
Live from the heart of Lincoln, America, 8-year NFL vet and All-American defensive lineman Adam Carriker.
Shotgun snap to Everidge. He's got the left arm going, and now he's got a whole lot of Adam Carriker who rips him down inside the 25-yard line.
On 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com. Here is your host, Adam Carriker.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome in. The second hour of the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. Matt RHULE, is he still at the podium? Is he done at the podium? Where are we at with the podium and Matt RHULE?
He was at least at the podium. I'd have to double check to see if he's still up there.
All right, we will get some notes on the Matt RHULE press conference. In the meantime, let's address some of these preseason questions. What do we know? What do we not know? What do we think we know? And we really have no freaking idea. Let's have some fun. All right. How much improvement will we see from Dylan RHULE in year 2? What do you think, Jake? What do we know? Since we haven't seen anything and there won't be a spring game and we're basically just going off what words were said in front of a microphone. But what do we think we know?
Well, we can at least know how it historically goes, is that from freshman to sophomore season is your biggest jump. Doesn't always happen, right? I mean, I think Taylor Martinez, freshman to sophomore year, I think his freshman year was better, right? His junior year was better. So I mean, it doesn't always play out that way, but you at least hope that along. And I think, I guess we're going with what we know. So that's about all I know. As well as, you would assume that when we think, right, which I'm throwing in there, that you maybe had an upgrade at wide receiver. And so that should help him out as well there too. But not a whole lot we know about Dylan other than that he had a modest freshman season.
I will say this. We're having some fun with this, and obviously there's any good joke has some truth, but it doesn't have too much truth. If it doesn't have any truth, it's not funny. If it has too much truth, it's not funny. It's got to have a certain amount of truth, but not a ton. Otherwise, it's not funny. We hear things, and we get credible information. So there are certain things that we trust, that we have heard, and then there's a little bit of, well, we still don't fully know for sure on some of these things either. So just keep that in mind as we're kind of going through this, what we believe we know, what we have no idea, what we're trying to figure out, and what we think we do know. Okay, let's talk about it. You talked about the wide receivers and a lot of these portal guys. We have talked about it before. We have not had good portal classes. I went through last year's class, and it wasn't great. And then you reminded me the year before was probably less great. And I hadn't even thought about that. This class, Dane Key, Isaiah Hunter, Elijah Pritchett. All right. There's Marquez Watson-Trent, Dawson McCall. There's a lot of guys. Gabe Moore on the D-line. There's a lot of guys who have transferred in that we're counting on starting much sooner rather than later. What do we believe we know as far as new players? You brought up wide receiver specifically, but any position that we believe we're like, yes, we can count on this guy to start and at least be good. Like good as in better than average. Otherwise, I don't know why we pay an average guy a bunch of money to come in. So good as in better than average. We'll see about anything beyond good. Who can we put on that list at this point, in your mind?
I think Dane Key and Isaiah Hunter certainly stand out at that wide receiver position. But again, a little hesitant to do that because last year we were kind of saying the same things going into the year with the wide receivers you had there. Now, these guys have better numbers. It's not like, well, it happened 2 years ago and then he went to Texas, so it should translate better. And then you do know that you have Ja'Cory Barney there, and that's what makes you feel, add some of the other pieces in there as well that have maybe played a little bit, not necessarily stood out, but been good depth at wide receiver, that you do feel pretty good about the wide receiver unit. You feel good about Emmett Johnson. Question marks a little bit on the offensive line, defensive line, right, where they have said that's it's looked good, but that's why we kind of hesitant. So I would put those in more of the categories we don't know. But I think Emmett Johnson and the wide receivers returning on offense is what you know. And then on the defense, you've got a lot that you know, right? I mean, there's guys that are going to have to step up and take bigger roles. But we've seen a lot of these guys in action, and then in the secondary, you've got a lot of guys returning to play that same role. So there's a little bit of tweaks, but I feel like we know a lot about our defense as far as the kind of the returning talent, and I think we know that the wide receiver unit's going to be better, and partially because it couldn't get a whole lot worse. I don't want to say that like it was. I mean, it could have been the Penn State unit, right? But but Dana Holgorsen came in right away, kind of address the problems that were there. And so you would think that would be a big offseason. And it looks like they have addressed that, through the offseason as well.
I feel comfortable looking at Dane Key and saying he's going to be a good player. First of all, you just look at what he did at Kentucky. But everything we've heard, everything you hear, some of the inside stuff you hear, Dane Key is the guy I look at. And I'm like, I believe he's going to be a good player. And I feel comfortable saying that. You look at some of the question marks, because in the headline of the show today, biggest question marks for Matt RHULE. Okay, still at this point in spring. Elijah Pritchett, he even said, the guy's, and I'm paraphrasing because I don't remember the exact quote, he's got basically talent through the roof, but he's still working on finding, and he didn't use the word consistency, but basically what he meant was consistency. He's working on finding and getting better at those little things, which equate to consistency. So I think Dane Key's a guy I look at, he's going to be good for us. All right, I look at that. I look at a guy like Elijah Pritchett, probably the single, Jake and I have agreed consistently, maybe he's changed his mind at this point, but the one player on the team that we need, that's coming through the transfer portal, that we need to play well as much or more than anybody is Elijah Pritchett. Would you still agree with that, or have you changed your mind on that?
No, I think that's the biggest deal.
You look at the defensive side of ball, I think a big question mark is Williamson-Worry. You see how big he is. You see how he stands out. You talk to some people who've watched some things. And you start to maybe put together a little bit as to why, and it's not a bad thing to redshirt, okay? It's just not as common in this day and age of college football. I redshirted, several guys I played with redshirted, several all-time greats have redshirted, nothing wrong with redshirting. But you kind of piece together why a five-star top recruit in this day and age maybe redshirted a little bit. All it is more time needed for growth and development. That's it, okay? Yeah, we're talking just like Elijah Pritchett. First-round talent, top 15 talent, top 10 talent, okay? That doesn't mean, bam, right out the gate, you're going to be that. There's this thing called development that needs to take place. So for me, when it comes to Williams-Worry, you hear certain things. All right, he's not quite there in this certain area. Got to improve in that certain area. That's a guy on defense that has the potential, and he's a young guy, he's a freshman. Okay, so there's no pressure here. It's actually a compliment. He has the potential as a freshman to be all Big Ten. He also has the potential with some of the other guys that are on this roster to not start this year. That's why there's a big question mark next to him. And again, that's not an indictment. The dude is a freshman. This is actually a compliment. Nobody was saying these things about me as a freshman. They were like, oh, he's not starting. Nobody was mentioning all Big 12 or all anything. They were just, oh, he's not starting. Like, this dude is a gigantic question mark because he has such a high ceiling. But what's the process of him developing to get there? I'm gonna go out on a little bit of a limb. Just a little bit. He's not a new guy. Riley Van Poppel. I like a lot of things. I like what I saw in the bowl game with him. Highly recruited guy, played well in the bowl game. You see how he's developed in the weight room. I look at Van Poppel, and it's hard not to think he's going to be a good player for us this year. Now, is he as proven already as the guy I've already pointed to in Dane Key? Nope. But part of college football, I just said the top 4 teams in the country that are odds-on preseason favorites to win the national title, they have to replace over 50% of their roster and a brand new quarterback at every single one of those schools. Now, Julian Saint at Ohio State. Okay, Dontel Moore up at Oregon, the UCLA transfer. Obviously got Arch Manning at Texas. Georgia just plug and play, another 5-star. But I'm looking at Van Poppel as a guy that was highly recruited, talented. Hasn't proven it yet. Not a bad thing. It just hasn't happened yet. But I'm like, that's the one guy I'm going to point at, take a little bit of a risk and say, I think he's going to be a pretty good player for us. And frankly, he's a guy we need to be a pretty good player. Dawson McCullough is a guy that can do just about anything. I get concerned with guys like that because, yes, did a lot of big things. Led Indiana in sacks as a freshman. Goes to Oklahoma, gets banged up, misses some games due to injury. This is a guy you want him to cover, he can cover. You want him to rush a passer, he can rush a passer. You want him to tackle somebody in open space, he's going to do way better than most. He can do all these things. I get concerned sometimes when somebody can do a bunch of things, people want them to do everything and they don't ever get really good at anything. So for him, one of the things I'm looking for Matt Rhule and his staff to do is say, this is where you can help us the most. This is where you can make the biggest impact. And we're going to let you get really, really good at that. Now, Matt Rhule mentioned early on, we haven't heard it in a while. And I know that they're open to bringing in more edge rushers in the spring portal. And I don't know. Is that just because we want depth? Is that because we haven't quite gotten what we wanted out of the guys that are there right now? I don't know. But I look at Dawson McCullough, and he's a guy that Rhule said early on, hasn't brought it up in a while, said he's going to come off the edge for us. We need pass rushers. We need pass rushers. We need pass rushers. You want to stop the run? Penetration in the backfield. You want to stop the pass? Have the quarterback running for his freaking life. You know how many times I've seen a receiver running wide open, but the ball's not there because the quarterback's either running for his life, can't look downfield, or he's on his back. Now, conversely, you could say, hey, if we have really great coverage, you don't have to blitz as many people. Or, I'm sorry, you can blitz more people because you can handle guys one-on-one. Do you feel comfortable leaving our back end and our secondary one-on-one with a bunch of wide receivers right now?
Not for too long.
Not just yet. So let's start. And they want to be multiple. They want to be 3-3-5. They want to go 4 down. They want to blitz. They want to confuse. That's the whole premise behind the defense that we're running. But there's a difference between wanting to do it and having to do it. If you have to do it, the offense has the advantage. If you can do it just when you want to, you've got the advantage. So Dawson McCullough is a guy that I'm looking at. Either him or Williams and Warrior. One of those two got to step up. It'd be great if they both did. Because then you can't just slide protection one way or the other. Chip with the back. Keep a tight end in. When you got two guys coming off the edge, it's double the nightmare. We need at least somebody to step up. And, you know, Randy Gregory had a great junior year. For the first time since Randy Gregory wins some one-on-one battles consistently. Ty Robinson did pretty good last year. If we're talking elite pass rusher, you're looking for double-digit sacks, though, or close at least. I always wonder what Gregory could have done had he not got banged up his senior year. Still did fine. Okay, battled through injuries, but. All right. Probably had to break. Anything else before we had to break real quick?
No. I think that covers it pretty well. Although, shout out to Khalil Davis, who one time had I think 8 or 9 sacks too. But that's from an interior rusher.
Hey, don't discredit those guys. How dare you?
Yeah.
How did I overlook
than
that?
An edge rusher.
No, thank you. Thank you for helping me with that. Yes. Shout out to Khalil Davis. No, actually, it's just so people know. Most people know, but if you don't, it's harder to get sacks from the interior. So that's even more impressive in my opinion. So, all right, shout out to Khalil Davis. Don't go anywhere, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to go through Matt Rhule's press conference. And what else did I have? College football rule change. There's a major college football rule change. And the Husker games. All right, I got a question for the fine folks. Are you interested in the Husker games? And just so you know, I'm not trying to poo-poo them. I want people there. I want people interested. But I'm not going to sit here and say that everybody I talk to is through the roof excited. So text in. What's that number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
Are you just at least a smidge, un poquito, a tiny bit excited about the Husker games or not? Let us know in the text line. I want people to be excited. I also can't be full of it. So I'm genuinely curious to see what people have to say. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Get ready for the largest dirt late model event in Nebraska, race fans. The Lucas Oil Late Model Dirt Series is heading to Eagle Raceway's High Bank Heist on Thursday, May 15th through Saturday, May 17th. See the greatest dirt late model stars in the country compete for $10,000 to win on both Thursday and Friday, and an enormous $50,000 to win 75-lap main event on Saturday. The High Bank Heist, May 15th through May 17th at Eagle Raceway. For more info, visit eagleraceway.com. Let's go Lucas Oil Late Model Racing. Eagle Raceway, just 10 miles east of Lincoln on O Street.
Things that impair you come in many different shapes and sizes. Some are the shape of beer and liquor bottles. Others look like cigarettes but aren't cigarettes at all. These are the things we know impair us, the things our parents warned us about. What we're not always aware of is our new prescription or the over-the-counter medicine we picked up just for allergies or a bad cold. See, it doesn't just matter how much of a substance you take. If you are impaired, driving is deceptively dangerous. Don't drive impaired. Paid for by the NDOT Highway Safety Office.
The electrical workers of Local Union 265 are now hiring licensed journeyman electricians from $32.50 to $42.50 per hour with paid benefits. And if you're looking for a new career, they're hiring apprentices at $19.50 per hour with paid benefits. Call the office at 402-423-4497 to apply. Start your electrical career today.
Ticket listeners know a dream team when they see one. At Applied Connective, we've been in the game for 20 years and have developed a team of world-class leaders in all things IT, from cybersecurity and Microsoft products to physical security, audio-video, infrastructure, business phone systems, and anything in between. We'll help you leverage technology to become your most secure, efficient, and profitable. Head to our website to check out real reviews and testimonials and sign up for a free tech consultation. We can show you where you might be vulnerable, inefficient, or overspending. It's a game changer, and it's totally free. Claim yours right now at appliedconnective.com.
Cinco de Mayo is May 5th, but the party starts early this year at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina with their street festival on Saturday, May 3rd. Come down to 8th and Q starting at 1 p.m. on May 3rd and see llamas from Sweet and Sassy's Llama Farm until 4 p.m. and enjoy face painting and balloon animals with Miss Shades at 2 p.m. DJ Wyatt will entertain from 6 to 10:30 p.m. There will be drinks, food, and giveaways, and best of all, no cover charge. It's the early Cinco de Mayo Street Festival with Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, Saturday, May 3rd, beginning at 1 p.m. at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
It's the best time of the year to order a new John Deere air seeder during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Take your seeding performance to the next level with John Deere's advanced air seeding technology. Achieve precise seed and fertilizer placement, optimize emergence, and cover more acres with less downtime. Now is the time to lock in the best price of the year during Landmark Implement's Fast Start Early Order program. Contact your Landmark Implement for full details and experience the Landmark difference.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
Get rid of pesky critters once and for all with Bats to Rats. Their expert team is here to help you reclaim your home. No more sleepless nights caused by crawling critters or flapping wings. Bats to Rats ensures a safe environment for every family member. Check the website at batstoRats.com for amazing offers. And if you mention this ad, you'll receive $10 off your initial inspection cost. Call Bats to Rats today at 402-781-8691. That's 402-781-8691. Bats to Rats.
Wrestling fans, it's time to elevate your game, just like Stevens & Smith Construction does for your concrete needs. As your full-service concrete contractor, we deliver solid results every time. From singles to doubles, fighting for inside position to scrambling reversals, we know how to pin down quality and slam expectations. Stevens & Smith Construction, a proud sponsor of Takedown Tuesdays on 93.7 The Ticket, where Husker wrestlers bring you all the action. Don't stall, Stevens & Smith Construction is here to help you build a concrete foundation for the win. Check us out at www.stevensandsmith.com because stalling is a penalty and winning is the only option.
Staying healthy and comfortable starts with the air you breathe. If you're noticing more dust, odors, or allergies, it could be time for duct cleaning from Bryant. Pure Air starts with cleaner air ducts. Pair with enhanced filtration and purifications options, and the difference is amazing. When the air you breathe is clean and fresh, your home smells fresher, and your family is healthier. Time for cleaner air in your home? Call Bryant for a free estimate. Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing. 467-1111. Bryant, whatever it takes.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Sponsored by John Henry's Plumbing, Heating, and Air Conditioning.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers this afternoon, otherwise mainly sunny with light winds, the high near 76. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy with a low near 52. And tomorrow, we'll see a chance of showers and storms throughout the day with the high near 75. I'm meteorologist Kyle Fleck from 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits is your place in North Lincoln to go for all your needs in wine, spirits, and beer. They also have a large variety of cigars in their walk-in humidor, and they have a top-notch walk-in temperature-controlled high-end wine room. Plus, you can enjoy free samples from their tasting bar. There's only one place to go for all your needs for spirits and cigars. That's Wall-to-Wall Wine and Spirits on North 27th Street in Lincoln.
Hi, Sean Callahan here for Koppel Chevrolet GMC in Louisville. Has experienced hail damage, and there's never been a better time to buy a new or pre-owned vehicle. The hail was very spotty, some pretty light, others heavier, but there are huge discounts right now happening at Koppel. So please do not wait. Get thousands of additional discounts along with 0% APR. There will be a lot of people heading this way to purchase vehicles. So stop on in or check us out online at koppelcars.com. All deals with approved credit.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. This is your daily friendly reminder. If you're so intrigued, you can go learn more and or register for the inaugural Carriker Chronicles football camp at carrikerchronicles.com. All right, the camp that is for the kids. All right, I hope they have a blast. Learn the basics, fundamentals. If you're ready for this, take your game to the next level and have memories that will stick with you for hopefully a lifetime. All right. The camp will feature Eric Crouch, Amon Green, Zach Wiegert, Kenny Wilhite, and yours truly. July 9th, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. at the LYF Lincoln Youth Football Field here in Lincoln. Boys and girls, K through 8th grade. Autographs included, T-shirts included. Ladies and gentlemen, the inaugural Carriker Chronicles football camp. Go to carrikerchronicles.com to learn more and or register. All right, my man. The Husker games. At first, we got no responses to the question I asked. I was like, oh, well, there's our answer. Now we do have some responses. But here's the plan. By the way, I am participating in this, and I don't know where I'm involved and where I'm not in this. But 7-on-7 women's flag football. All right. Well, I'm not in that, but this isn't about me. That's at 1 o'clock. Then you got Big Red Kickoff. You got a scrimmage first quarter, then a strongest man challenge, a scrimmage second quarter, quarterback shootout, halftime, John Cook roping roundup. Jake, you doing the roping roundup?
I'm not.
Yeah, me neither. All right. I forgot also at 1 will be Midland versus UNL All-Stars. Is that also flag football? Do you know?
Sounds like it. I'm not sure.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of unclarity to some degree on some of this. All right, scrimmage third quarter. I believe that's with the current Huskers who are going to actually be playing actual tackle football. It's not two-hand touch like it was a few years ago, was it?
No.
That made me gag. All right, Husker hands, agility, and skill showdown. Media challenge. What in the world is going to be the media challenge? Steve Sipple catching punch. Did you know Sean Callahan? Oh, what did he tell me? I interviewed him like in January, February. He's like a black belt or almost a black belt. I forget what it is. Jiu-jitsu, taekwondo. Dude, I want to see Steve Sipple like out there in full pads, catch a punt, return it, and I want to see Sean Callahan. I don't want him to tackle him, though. I want him to do like a spinning 360 roundhouse back kick or something. He's got pads on, so nobody's getting hurt. It's not going to happen, but it'd be entertaining. What the heck is a media challenge? Is it like, are they going to do something physical? Is it Jeopardy? Do you have any idea what this is?
All we know is that Steve is supposed to catch a punt. At least that's what Matt Rule said.
That's all we've heard. All right.
That's all we've heard.
Pressure's on, Steve. All right, scrimmage in the fourth quarter. Fastest man what's that say? Smokehouse show, and then Wingstop wing eating contest. Well, there's the one thing I know that I'm doing. I'm doing the wing eating contest. All right. Ladies and gentlemen, what's been the response on the text line? Are people, and I want people into this. I want people excited about this, but you can't force what isn't there. Now, Jake and I talked during the break. I don't want to say you can get away with doing this for 1 year, but we both agree if this is something that's ongoing in the future, like there's going to be a curiosity pop. Like people are going to tune in just to see what the heck this is. I don't have details. I'm going to be there as I'm reading it. All right. There's going to be a curiosity pop after this. It's going to go from maybe 20,000 people, maybe, to 10 to 5 to whatever. So I'm hoping the people in charge of college football, and I feel relatively optimistic about this, look around, say, hey, this was a flop. Let's get rid of the post-spring portal window. Then people will actually do, I don't know, spring football games. And then the only question is, do you do it against yourself, or do you do what Dion said? And, hey, let's do a spring game versus another school. Let's have joint practices the week of, which I'm a gigantic fan of. But we'll see what happens. What's the fans' reaction, and what's their level of interest in said Husker games?
Varying response here. 3974 says not at all interested. Cigar Guy says I'm interested in Husker games. I won't say I'm excited. I'd be excited for a red-white game. Husker P says not excited. Can't attend and no TV coverage, so it's just another practice to me. Bill and Bennett says I am interested in the Husker games, but I still want to see Steve Sipple try to catch a punt or try his hand at long snapping.
Ooh.
Then 0739 says if I had little kids, I would take them and be excited for them. But as a 45-year-old, I'm not sure this format of the spring game gets me excited. Can't and won't get a feel for the team's success by this format. For kids, it is fun. For adults, probably not.
I feel like that's probably an accurate barometer of how most people feel, actually. You never know what type of responses you're going to get. You know, in a vacuum, you might get off-the-wall responses, but I feel like that's a fair barometer of how I feel like a lot of people are looking at the Husker games this weekend. All right. Like I said, there's going to be a curiosity pop for year one. If there's a year two, let's not have a year two. All right. This did stick out to me because we're concerned about players being poached. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I'm excited for the guys who get to do the actual live football. They're current Huskers right now this weekend. But my interest was piqued a little bit now that we know TJ Lateef and Marcos DeVille are going to be the quarterbacks playing, which Jake during the break was like, does that mean Jalen Gromstad is etched as the number 2 quarterback? Seems that way. I was like, I thought we were worried about players getting poached. So as excited as I am to watch them, what is going on with that? The other thing is if they can play and we're not televising it, why can't other people play? So that kind of didn't make sense to me. And then part of me was like, well, if it's clearly Dylan and Jalen, maybe not. I wonder if they're kind of like, hey, we only need 1 third-string quarterback. So you're both going to be technically freshmen. So we'll put you out there. Maybe you go to a different school. This is conjecture and partially attempted humor on my part. Hey, one of you two can get poached. We'll take your money back. We'll use that for another running back. I don't know. All right. This is just interesting to me. I'm a guy that remembers what's said. I remember it over time. And I will bring it back up at a later date if things don't make sense. So I am that guy that will do those things. Sometimes I'm just interested. Sometimes I'm just a pain in the butt. But what are your thoughts on anything that I just spoke about there, Jake?
Well, I think you're right, though. I mean, I think, like we were saying during the break, is just I think the nuance of this will be exciting. By the way, I did see Emmett Johnson too in his press conference said that he won't be. He wanted to be in part of the chicken wing contest, but I guess that's going to be most of the offensive linemen, which means probably not former players. I don't know if you're going to be in there.
It's discrimination. That's ageism. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
All right. That seems to be all I got to say about that. Wasn't that Stone Cold that used to say that? Was it Stone Cold? And that's about all I got to say about that. And that's the bottom line.
There you go.
He didn't say it like that, though. All right. NCAA rule change. The NCAA has announced, this was a few days ago, a new college football rule to change to combat faking injuries. If medical personnel are forced to enter the field to play to evaluate an injured player after the ball is spotted by the officiating crew, the player's team will be charged a timeout. If that team doesn't have any remaining timeouts, a 5-yard delay of game penalty will be assessed. Thoughts?
Yeah, I was intrigued by that one, and I kind of wanted to ask you because how quickly do they spot the ball, I guess, would be the deal, because I don't think this is going to be something, because initially you kind of think, okay, that could be a big problem or kind of jump into this game. But how do the referees kind of go about spotting the ball? It's rather quick. So if you're going to be injured right away. That's kind of the idea here.
You got to go quick with it.
Yeah.
And, just full disclosure, we had a call. I forget what it was now, but it meant lay on the field. We need you to buy us some time for whatever reason. We may have done that with our 8th graders when we went to Florida too, and actually used it in the game. But
did you do that at every level? Was there a call?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a very real thing. The first game I ever distinctly remember watching Nebraska play, it was against UCLA out in California, early 90s. I don't remember the year. You could probably look up the schedule and see it. Nebraska won. And I was a kid, not even 8 years old, probably like 6, 7, and the UCLA players hurt. They stopped the game, they called timeout. It helped UCLA, obviously. And the UCLA player comes to the sideline. He's running up and down the sideline cheering with the fans. Obviously, it was a facade. It was a mirage. He WWE'd the refs. My dad was so pissed. He's like, that's dirty. Now it's dirty pool. Now that's commonplace, like I just said. I was never the one who got chose to do it. Maybe they think I'm a bad actor. I don't know. But I do think it's a good rule. I think it makes sense. There's some other rules that we could change. I've never liked if you're going to score a touchdown, you're going towards the end zone and you fumble the ball through the back of the end zone. Why does the other team get the ball at their 20-yard line? Why is that a touchback? Why is it not your ball at the 1-yard line or the 1-inch line? You're going to score, you fumble, it goes through the end zone, touchback the other team. What about that makes any freaking sense? I don't like the rule that if your helmet comes off, you have to miss a play. What if it's 4th and goal? What if it's a 2-point conversion in overtime? You win or lose based on this. There's a couple of rules I've never understood. This was not at the top of my radar. I do think it makes sense, though. What do you think of the rules that I proposed changes to?
Yeah, I mean, I kind of get the touchback thing. You shouldn't fumble into the end zone. I mean, there's got to be something. You don't just get the ball back at the 1.
Yes.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
So what's wrong with the touchback?
It's a complete change of possession. It takes away a touchdown, and then it's like a turnover that wasn't a turnover.
It is a turnover.
It's by the rules that are awful right now. Technically, yes. All right, I want to know. Do the people agree with me? Let us know. Text in. What's the number, Jake?
402-464-5685.
Should that god-awful, horrifically horrible rule be changed? Or is Jake right? You like how I phrased that?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you just get the ball back at the 1, why wouldn't you just chuck the ball, fumble into the end zone to begin with?
What? Chuck it into the what? All right, now you're getting carried away. Now you're getting carried away. All right, we got to take a break. And when we come back, I want to hear what your fine folks have to say. And then we will give as much of a recap of Matt Rhule's press conference as we can. Whatever we don't get to, we will get to on Thursday. Don't go anywhere. We shall return.
McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket is your place for English Premier League soccer. On Saturday, Everton plays Man City at 9 a.m., followed by Aston Villa versus Newcastle at 11:30 a.m. On Sunday, Man United plays Wolves at 8 a.m., with Ipswich Town versus Arsenal at 8 a.m. as well. Liverpool currently leads the standings with 76 points. You can find all this and more at McKinney's Irish Pub in the Haymarket, your place for English Premier League soccer.
Mike, I've been thinking, our house could really use a makeover. How about new siding?
I've been thinking the same thing. Have you heard of James Hardy?
Yes! Sarah down the street had Roofing Service Company install James Hardy siding on their home, and they love it.
Roofing Service Company does have great reviews.
They took her through the design process and made everything super easy.
Roofing Service Company offers expert design and installation. Couple that with James Hardy's durable products and variety of colors, you and your family will love your exterior remodel. Just visit roofingservicecompany.com. That's roofingservicecompany.com.
Rain, snow, or shine, John Henry's is here to keep your home's plumbing systems working properly, no matter what kind of weather Nebraska throws at us. From unclogging toilets and drains to installing new water heaters and water treatment systems, John Henry's is your plumbing expert in the Lincoln and Omaha communities. Visit us at calljh.com or call John Henry's.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
It's never too late to start protecting your company's data from cyber attacks. Your customers put their trust in you to keep their information safe from online threats. Don't let them down. Partner with Hamilton Business Technologies to get real-time threat monitoring, advanced security protocols, and experts who monitor it all for you. We care about the success of your business and the communities you serve. Hamilton Business Technologies. Real people, real technology solutions. Connect with us at hamiltonisbusiness.com.
What's better than supporting your favorite radio station and eating delicious Nebraska-made products? Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska wants to highlight you, the listener, on the 93.7 The Ticket Wall of Fame at the store. Stop by the store at 48th and R in Lincoln and see their huge variety of small batch gourmet jerky. Or if you're not in the area and want to try some, go to smokinggunjerky.com and enter code EARLY for 10% off your purchase. It's the ultimate low-calorie, high-protein snack at Smoking Gun Jerky of Nebraska.
Cinco de Mayo is May 5th, but the party starts early this year at Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina with their street festival on Saturday, May 3rd. Come down to 8th and Q starting at 1 p.m. on May 3rd and see llamas from Sweet and Sassy's Llama Farm until 4 p.m. and enjoy face painting and balloon animals with Miss Shades at 2 p.m. DJ Wyatt will entertain from 6 to 10:30 p.m. There will be drinks, food, and giveaways, and best of all, no cover charge. It's the early Cinco de Mayo Street Festival with Tipsy Tina's Taco Cantina, Saturday, May 3rd, beginning at 1 p.m. at 8th and Q in the Haymarket.
Are you ready for a new opportunity? Check out Sandhills Global. Join a dynamic team where your skills are valued and your career can soar. We offer full-time positions with a 4.5-day work week, competitive pay, excellent benefits, and a positive work environment. From IT and marketing to sales and finance, we're looking for talented individuals like you. Apply today at sandhills.jobs and take the first step towards an exciting future. That's sandhills.jobs. Don't wait, apply now.
Load up on meat and more this spring at The Mercado by Certified Piedmontese with great selections of T-bones, tomahawks, ribeyes, filet mignon, brisket, sirloin, and so much more. The Mercado has locations at 84th and Havelock, 30th and Yankee Hill, and now 85th and Old Cheney in Lincoln, where you can have $2 draft beer every Thursday night from 4 to 8 p.m. and half-price espresso drinks on Fridays from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Get to The Mercado today for the best meat in town. Runners, are you ready? The 48th Annual Lincoln Marathon takes over the streets on Sunday, May 4th. Whether you're chasing a personal best, conquering your first race, or just in it for the bragging rights, this race is for you. Sign up for the full or half marathon today at lincolnmarathon.org, but don't wait, spots are filling fast. Join thousands of runners or line up along the course to cheer them on and make race day unforgettable. The Lincoln Marathon and Half Marathon, your finish line is waiting. Register now at lincolnmarathon.org.
93.7 The Ticket, Fox, KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers this afternoon, otherwise mainly sunny with light winds, the high near 76. Tonight, a slight chance of showers and storms, otherwise partly cloudy with the low near 52. And tomorrow, we'll see a chance of showers and storms throughout the day with the high near 75. A meteorologist Kyle Fleck for 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
You grew up on cereal for breakfast and you graduated into drinking coffee at some point as an adult. Now there's a place in Lincoln where you can stay caffeinated but eat like you used to. Control Coffee and Cereal Bar brings Saturday morning vibes to every day with locally roasted specialty coffees, Lotus energy drinks, and tons of breakfast cereals with toppings. And did we mention they have video games to play while you're there too? Control Coffee and Cereal Bar open 7 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday and 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. on the weekends at 15th and Pine Lake.
This is the Adam Carriker Show on 93.7 The Ticket and theticketfm.com.
Boom! Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Adam Carriker Show here on 93.7 The Ticket. All right. And I quote, age is just a number. I've been saying that ever since I was a little kid, trying to get older women, end quote. That's Vikings running back Aaron Jones on playing in his 30s and picking up older women, apparently. This should also be noted. Andrew Luck is playing quarterback at Stanford's practice during the Cardinals' practice. All right. He's the GM, right?
Yeah.
Pat Stewart. All right. My man, I want to see you playing quarterback on Saturday. Expectations have been raised. All right. Who agrees with me and who's wrong, Jake?
Well, yeah, we've got a lot of response here, so I'd have to kind of go through it.
Don't just cherry pick either. I'll know.
OG Breaker says they should just make it to where that player has to sit out the rest of the series. What he thinks with taking off the helmets there.
So make it worse. Okay.
Yeah,
he just made it worse. I disagree, my friend.
Big Hoss would like to see kickoffs to the change to like the NFL.
I don't hate that at all. I want more kicks returned. So whatever's going to achieve that goal, I want that.
Kent says don't fumble, so that would help right away. 2206, it seems like a smart guy, says Jake's right. Keep Keep it. Hang on to the ball, dummy.
Seems like a smart guy. By the way, Andy Jurassic said I'm right, so there's that.
Phil says, I don't particularly like how the rule is written, but I am probably more on Jake's side than I am on Adam's.
Wow. You people are turning heel on me. How dare you? So you're going into score. You fumble. Nobody recovers it. Nobody recovers it. Name me another rule in any sport where the other team doesn't take the ball or get the ball somehow from you, yet they get the ball without actually touching the ball. I can be running, fumble, because I'm a human being, and not everyone's perfect, and they don't touch it, yet they get the ball at the 20-yard line. How? Read more answers where people agree with me. I want that.
2737 says, fumbling, crossing the goal line, keep possession on 10-yard line as long as fumble was not by contact.
That's okay. There's more to that rule than I realized, but it's an improvement. I like that.
Phil says, why are you rewarding the offense for screwing up? I say give it to him at the 5 and they have 2 downs to score. Otherwise, it's a turnover.
That's the best thing I've heard yet. Okay. Why are you rewarding the defense for doing nothing? But I do like your proposal. We're going in the right direction. Okay. What else we got here?
Justin says, how about if the player loses their helmet, they are required to play the rest of the game without a helmet? That could be entertaining.
I know he's not serious. At least I hope he's not. I don't have a great witty response for that, but I like your text. So thank you for sending that in.
Riley says, should be possession, team's ball on the 2. And Husker P says soccer. That's the other sport where they get the ball. What you were explaining earlier without the defense touching it.
What's his name? Husker 2?
Husker P.
Husker P. Thank you, Husker P. Thank you for helping us out with that. I don't, okay, we'll get to rules. There's way too much to get to here in about, even as fast as I talk in about 2 minutes. So we'll get to rules press conference on Thursday. A lot of good stuff there. Pat Stewart's going to have a press conference Thursday. So as always, a loaded show coming up on Thursday. Probably rolling over into Friday as well. All right. In all seriousness, if the ball goes through the end zone, I don't hate putting it on the 5. You get 2 downs to try to score. Of course, what was it? Was it 4th and 1? Was it 1st and 10 previously? I kind of, out of all those, in all seriousness, kind of like putting it at the 2. It's almost like the 2-point conversion. You put it at the 2, and you get 1 play to try to score, regardless of whether it was 3rd or 4th down. You had 10 yards to go, 20 yards to go, 2 inches to go. Put it at the 2, you get 1 play to try to score. It's almost like a 2-point conversion, except it's for a potential touchdown or not.
Yeah, but then the defense has to get the ball at the 2 if they stop you. That's a long
No, then they get it at the 20.
No, then they get it at the 20.
Then they get it at the 20.
Okay. That's like some of these rules, I don't mind them. You're going to really confuse everybody because if you do all these rule changes, you have like 6 rules to your new rule change, then it's going to be confusing.
You always know somebody's trying to be nice, but they really don't like your answer when they just go, okay. All right. Any final thoughts before we get out of here?
No, I don't think I do. I just think I'm right. That's all.
Well, did you cherry pick those answers? I do think there was, what was it, 3-2 in favor of you?
Yeah, that was everybody that texted in.
All right. I need to get those responses in front of me. I guess I lost today. That's all right. Let's see. Wednesday is tomorrow. Tune in tomorrow, one-on-one with DP. Steve Taylor joins here on The Ticket. I will be back on Thursday. Have a glorious Tuesday. Go Big Red Nose. Remember to throw the bones.
$93.7 The Ticket. Fox KFXL weather. Brought to you by Bryant Air Conditioning, Heating, Electrical, and Plumbing.
Your Lincoln forecast for today, a slight chance of showers this afternoon. Otherwise, mainly sunny with light winds. The high near 76.